It is now time for the Hello, Mr. President segment of the show. It's a segment that's dedicated solely to you and problems that you're facing within your community. So if there's anything at all in your environment that's inhibiting your growth as a Ghanaian, we want to know about it. So please take out your phone and record an up to 1 minute video. Send that video to us via the email hello mrpresidenttv@gmail.com or the WhatsApp line 0550-585832. And every Wednesday at 9:30, we'll play those videos and call onto policymakers to do right by you. If you don't have a camera phone, don't worry. You can text the problems to us via that email and the WhatsApp line, and we'll play them and also show your text message to the world and the nation and call onto policymakers to do something about it for you. Our video this week comes all the way from Sekyedumase in the Ashanti region. Let's watch.
Where Sekyedumase Zongo, Abai School at Ewa Honono, a friend of Boachiansa Primary School. And Kranisia dear Ewa Edia Ase, classes for Krana Yehu Mono. And a pay a buyer or teacher, Echre or Madia. In fact, a Yahumetisem. Timisremo, a buying penny for ne, penny for a mokabi room. The Samoma Boami school die, Ewa ha many assemblyman, there was a impatamu. Tianen crown bay me, Ebekasa. Mammy, your frau said. Now, how got most teaching idea at this end? Ache nti ha ya na da bia ya kire ma de na insu ba mo ye den
ya kwa keji fo
insu ba mo be sori akoka keji fo ho oh we dey ya ho mete sempa nti dia na mo pese aban ye ma mo
ya so basic classes down right.
So there you have it. That primary school is Boachiansa Primary School. These are pupils who are in primary 6. Ideally, they should be in a classroom that is well resourced. They should have, things around the walls, even reinforcing the education that they are taking. Should be preparing to go into some of the best junior high schools in the country, but they've been limited to studying under a tree. And you and I both know that being under a tree is not a great environment for a child to concentrate. It's not a great place for a child to be able to get all the help and resources he or she needs to excel academically. And without that academic excellence, their future will look bleak. If you have a similar situation in your area, we want to hear it. So please use the hashtag BreakfastDaily and the WhatsApp line 0550-585832 for us to hear from you. The video was submitted by the assemblyman in the area, and we have him on the line with us. His name is Mr. Afari Jan. Good morning, Mr. Jan.
Good morning, madam.
How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you so much for being with us. Can you please tell us a bit about the Sekyedumase area before we even get into the primary school?
All right. Thank you very much, madam, for the opportunity given. Sekyedumase is a town located in the Sekyedumase municipality, and it is one of the biggest towns in Ashanti region. But before I start with, I'm the assembly member for the area, Sekyedumase Zongo. So that's a brief history of Sekyedumase.
Okay, and approximately how many people are in the Zongo?
All right, Sekyedumase, we having about 4,000 to 5,000 inhabitants in Sekyedumase Zongo.
Okay, now let's get into this Boachiansa Primary School issue. Tell us a bit more about it.
All right, Boachiansa Primary School was established in 1995 through the effort of community members and their leaders. I'm saying this because the area was deprived of primary school education. So the people in Seko Zongo, which is Sekyedumase Zongo, through their effort established a task house which they started their primary education in. So as at that time, together with the assembly member of the area, Honorable Regina Mallard of blessed memory, they delegate some people together with her to the assembly to inform the secretary of the assembly that they need a primary education at Sekyedumase Zongo. So the secretary told them that they have considered their plea, but for a year nothing was done about that. So they also contracted, or they went to see the MP for the area as at that time, Honorable Answer. So together with him, they went to the assembly and asked them to use his common fund to establish a primary school for the people of Sekyedumase Zongo. So as I'm speaking with you, it is one of the Sekyedumase LA Primary School is the only primary school in Sekyedumase Zongo.
So when it comes to the school itself, how many students are there? And the studying under a tree, is it just limited to class 6 students who are under the tree, or the other students are also under the tree?
All right. As I said earlier on, it was a primary school, so the idea was from primary 1 to primary 6. They didn't consider the crèche, the nursery, KG1 and KG2. So as time goes on, they have to purchase the classes people who they consider to be mature under tree, so that it can contain, that their classroom can contain the crèche, nursery, and KG people. So we are having a population which is estimated around 500 to 600 students in Sekyedumase LA Primary School in Sekyedumase Zongo.
So please tell us a bit about the KG classroom that we were looking at.
All right. So the KG classroom was initially for the class A students. So as you can see on the video, they have partitioned the class A people, which they consider mature, to be under the tree for the children to be in the classroom. So the KG classroom, the class A classroom, which is now being occupied by the KG students, are not in its good state. You go there and you see students lying on the floor, as you can see on it. They don't have chairs. So if your parents don't have money to buy you chair, then it is up to you to sleep on the floor. Or if your parents can afford you with a chair, they buy some plastic chair for you. You carry it to school every day. You send it back to the house and you send it back to school the following day. So that's how the school is being managed. I went there and I talked to the authorities, and what the authorities were saying is that they are having broken chairs, but it is very hard to come by finances to repair them. And they draw the authorities' attention, that the authority concerned in education at the municipality, but nothing has been done about it. Sometimes they just put the pressure on assembly members. Meanwhile, we don't have finances to embark on some of these things. Mm-hmm. So that is what is happening in Sekyedumase Zongo.
So we're looking at the KG classroom, and it looks like the students are overcrowded. There are too many people in the classroom. There are not enough seats for them. How are they able to concentrate on their classes? And what do you hear from the teachers as far as the quality of education the kids will get under such an environment?
Yes, madam. As I told you earlier on, I said they didn't make provisions for the crèche, the nursery, KG1 and KG2. So the classroom you see there, the KG classroom, is made up of, I think, 4 different levels. It comprises with the crèche, nursery, KG1 and KG2. So they teach them simultaneously. They teach them together. So whether you get something home or not, that one is a different issue altogether. As you can see, there are some who are slightly older than the others. But they are still in the classroom, the same classroom, because of a limited classroom for the students.
So, Mr. Teshijan, yes, try and explain this to us. So if you're telling me there are KG1, like let's say there are 4 different classes in one classroom, does that mean there will be different teachers in that same room? And how are the kids able to concentrate? Because if you have a nursery here and a nursery teacher there, KG1 here with KG1 teacher, the whole thing just looks very messy.
Yes, they have different teachers. I met about 3 or 4 teachers in the same classroom. And what they do is that if it is time for the KG1 to learn, their teacher will take them through. And if it's time for the grade to learn too, their teacher will take them through their learning process. So that's how it is being conducted. I saw about 4 teachers in that classroom the day we went there to take this video.
Now let's look at the class 6 students, because I think class 6 is probably one of the most important grades of every child's life. That's when you're determining what JHS you're going to, which will now determine what SHS you end up in and what university you go to. Why are they under a tree? What have you tried to do to at least help them get an alternative?
Okay, they are under the tree because of the limited classroom block. And as assemblyman of the area, I've consulted the school board, and we are preparing to just put up a wooden structure which can help us, or which can help the students to have a classroom, a temporary classroom for their academic activity. But I see it very important to alert the stakeholders in education, so far as my area is concerned, to provide us with a very conducive environment for our students. As you said earlier on, class 6 is one of the levels in education which is very important, because it's where the person enters into his junior high school. And if they don't have a very conducive environment to learn, they are at the detriment of others. Because I think the Constitution provides in Article 25 that every child will have a free compulsory education, and the A also provides that they will have equal access to facilities and so on and so forth. So we are just pleading with the authorities to provide us with a classroom for these students.
What do you hear from the students? Because I can imagine myself at class 6. If I have to get up early in the morning and go study under a tree, I won't look forward to going to school. And if they don't go to school, they pretty much don't have a good future. So what do they tell you?
Please, the question again.
Have you spoken to the class 6 students? How difficult does this make their education process? Because most children their age will not look forward to going to school to study under a tree.
Yes. Yes, I've spoken to a number of the class 6 students. This is not their number. There are many than them. But because they don't have classrooms and tables and chairs to sit on, some have intentionally not been coming to school, and they will be putting the blame on the classroom, the unavailability of tables and chairs. Because this is enough evidence for them to even absent themselves from school. Because they don't have chairs to sit on, as you can see on the video. I think that young man over there wanted to go for his chair from his sister. He wanted to go for his chair from the sister, and the sister was refusing to provide the chair to him. So he was standing there. He's a baby student. You can see him on the video. So this has been one of the problems in my electoral area, which needs to be addressed.
So, Mr. Teshijan, we are all listening to you. The entire nation is watching what's happening in the Sekyedumase Zongo, and I must say that it's shameful that as a nation we are watching this happen. You know, because the foundation we lay for these students who already are coming from economically deprived communities is crucial to what their futures will look like, whether they're going to be successful, whether they'll rise out of poverty. But if we keep turning a blind eye to this, then I don't know what's going to happen. So what do you want to tell authorities about equipping students in your area with the right resources and at least the right classrooms so that they can really study hard and continue their education?
Thank you very much, Jifa. What I want to tell the nation is that with immediate effect, those involved in that sector should just turn to Sekyedumase Zongo to provide us a facility that is very conducive for learning, for teaching and learning, so that our people there also can access education. Because as they say, education is the backbone of every country and community. If these people are not given the right education, I think one day it is going to go a long way to affect the Sekyedumase community and the nation as a whole. So I'm pleading with the authorities responsible to come to our aid and give us a classroom blocks and tables and chairs which will ensure academic excellence in Sekyedumase Zongo.
And have you said that this issue has been with them since the 90s?
Please.
You said this school was set up in the 90s by the community, right?
Yes, the school was set up in 1995 by the community members, which the MP then uses as common fund to construct that 6-unit classroom block. So
over 20 years, what reasons have the different authorities given for neglecting this school in Sekyedumase Zongo?
In fact, they don't give any reason for neglecting this school, but I can say on authority that because the school was named after one political figure in the town, there has been a conflict of interest that if this man put out the school, then his people should also take care of the school. I don't want to go much into that, but that has been the reason why this school has been neglected. You hear some people saying the man who put out the school is coming from our party, and for that matter, this school was built by us and they will be using it to campaign and so on and so forth. So if in case this party is in power, if you go for any assistant to help that school, because of the history of the school, they will refuse to provide you with that assistant. So that has been the reason why the school has been neglected. It wasn't a bad school. It is the only primary school with teachers' quarters there in the whole of Sekyedumase.
Thank you very much, Mr. Afari Teshijan. He's a assembly member of Sekyedumase Zongo in the Ejura Sekyedumase municipality. There's so many angles to the story that should sadden every single one of us. The first thing is that the kids already come in from an economically deprived community. In any other part of this world, those communities will be equipped with the essential resources to help these kids rise out of poverty. The opposite is actually happening in the Sekyedumase Zongo. Class 6 students who up until this point should be focusing on what JHS they will get into, getting straight A's, getting all the materials they need to study so that if they fail in school, it will be through their own doing and not because of the inefficiencies of the environment, have had to settle for studying under a tree. If a child has to get up and look forward to studying under a tree, they won't want to go to school. They will find dropping out of school a more attractive alternative than staying in school. And then that cycle will continue and continue and continue. And no one will be able to break that poverty cycle because we as a society have failed to give them that passport they need to rise out of poverty, which is education. Now you look at the KG1 students, KG2 students, nursery students, all being lumped up in one environment. If there's one thing you know about children, they have very short attention span. And as such, classroom size are important. Teachers need to be able to pay attention to each student to ensure that whatever it is that they are being taught, they are able to absorb it. That's not happening in Sekyedumase Zongo. And the sad thing is, this has been going on for over 20 years. Next week, we'll try and get a hold of the DCE of the area, or at least the MC, to find out exactly what they've attempted to do to solve the problem and who has failed them. Because if not for anything at all, the current Minister of Education has experience in setting up charter schools in America. He knows what it's like to give low-income communities the great education that students deserve to rise out of poverty. We shouldn't be experiencing this in Ghana. So next week, we're going to follow up on this story to see what's happening in Sekyedumase Zongo. But if you have not yet sent in videos of problems you're facing in your community, we urge you to do so. All you have to do is take out your phone and record an up to 1 minute video. Send that video to us via the email hello mrpresidenttv@gmail.com, and the WhatsApp line is 0550-585832. And every Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. we'll play those videos and call on to policymakers to do something about it for you.